Hello, I'm Get the Cans, and apparently I'm acting in concert with Gerry Armstrong. I never knew that I was breaking a contract that I never signed when I decided to start talking about Scientology with people outside of Gerry Armstrong's family, and if Scientology's affiliates or, things like that. I was completely unaware. Apparently, you can apparently be tied down to a legal agreement without even knowing it. Apparently, I never knew. I guess I better stop talking about Scientology. Oh wait, it's too late, so I might as well keep going. Now, it's funny how the so-called church, keeps trying to shut up all of its critics and anybody who tries to leave, to the point where they will actually start writing up contracts that are not contracts. Try to get judges to basically enforce injunctions that are so overly vague that they can pretty much cover the entire planet. Apparently, there's already a video on. Was it Moronimus's YouTube page? Gerry Armstrong making a video. Gerry Armstrong's video made by Moronimus, talking about how apparently if he even mentions the names, say, Miscavige, L. Ron Hubbard, or Moxon, or anything like that, it costs him about $50,000 every single time. Anyone who's seen with him is apparently considered as acting in concert with him, and thus costs him about $50,000, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't aware that you could be forced to, agree to a legal, agreement kind of thing where you don't actually have to even know about the agreement, or even fall under the, any kind of legal, like association type system where basically, you know how kids are under the responsibility of their parents. Well, whatever stuff like that. But apparently, you could have some guy. A few years ago, get into trouble with somebody. The judge makes an injunction, and all of a sudden, if you do anything that's even vaguely similar to what he's doing, apparently you're breaking the law. Even though technically, I have been expressing my right to talk, which is like my right, and completely and totally trumps this so-called agreement entirely. But apparently I'm not allowed to talk about it anymore, unless of course I want to pay $50,000 every time. Which is not happening. So, yeah, right. Bring it on. Whatever. So, but yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous in how they'll try to constantly shut you up with this stuff. Now, I can understand how a corporation would want to have their legal secrets and stuff protected. And I'm familiar with things like NDAs and the non-compete clause in a contract that you sign when you leave a place. That I can understand. But this is 17 years of his life. This is things that are not copyrightable. You can't copyright someone's life. You can't copyright a person. I mean, I remember when they first started making those G.I. Joe doll figurines, and the people that were in that company tried to copyright the doll because they don't want copycats to be coming out, and well, they found out that apparently you can't copyright the human body. So they added a flaw, copyrighted that, and anyone who made the human body was essentially infringing upon their copyright because it was slightly different, because it didn't have that one flaw, and it was usually very hard to miss. But anyways, legal precedent is set. You cannot copyright, the human being. You can't copyright someone's life, and you can't make a contract that shuts down that person's life. You can try to write up a contract, you can try to enforce it, but it's illegal because it's overridden by their rights as a human being to be able to express themselves in a respectful manner that isn't necessarily, being obtrusive or insulting or slanderous. And I wouldn't necessarily say him saying things that happen to him in Scientology is slanderous in and of itself. Now, Scientology would like to have you believe that it's slanderous, but the thing about slander is that it's actually supposed to be like a purposefully placed kind of information that makes you think worse of a person. With that is the intent. That's what slander is. You're throwing mud around, but you can't deny stuff that actually happens. You can't just basically tie a guy to a tree and whip him for 10 years or 17 years or whatever, and then have him just oh, you can't tell anybody about it because that might make us look bad. It's no, I'm pretty sure that you doing the act of whipping the guy for 17 years while he's tied up against a tree would probably make you look bad, and not necessarily the fact that he told anybody about that. Just for an example's sake, right? But yes, apparently some doctor in Alberta or whatever like that apparently got some legal letter stating that because he was seen with Gerry, if I'm getting the facts straight, I'm just basically doing this video off the top of my head. But apparently, because he was seen with Gerry, he was considered working in concert with him, and had some lawyer send. There was some lawyer that sent some letter to him saying that he now, he's breaking the law, $50,000, blah blah blah. So, bring it on. I have been talking about Scientology for the last little bit here. Apparently, a few months, according to my videos, on various subjects, on my own personal opinion, which is currently not under any copyright that I'm aware of. Considering I didn't sign any papers, but I'd like to see someone try to take me to court over something that they can't prevent me from doing. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not divulging company secrets because I never and third of all, I never signed anything that said that I would never do any of these things. And even if I did, considering the freedom of speech and all that stuff, you can't support it. I'm sorry. You can't make a contract that makes people right away their that basically give away their rights like that. I mean, you could try. For the most part, if you don't fight it, it'll slide. But if a person doesn't want that, then they have the right to fight it, to go against the injunction, peaceably, of course, and to basically get it struck down, because it's wrong. You can't make somebody do something like that. You can't just make a contract up and then have someone follow it down to the letter, permanently because they signed it. The law's hands are tied. Oh, I'm sorry, but this contract says. No, I'm sorry, but the contracts are supposed to be there generally for some kind of mutual benefit, or at least the protection of one party or the other. Now, what Gerry talks about is his own personal life, which means that he can't sign it away. You can own someone's identity. I've heard of companies owning other people's identity, but Gerry is himself. He's his own person, and I strongly recommend that anybody who may be watching this video to go to his channel. I'll try to provide a link to go to his channel and try to support him in any way you can. And if you're a member of the protesting organization known as Anonymous, it may be something that may be worth your while, especially considering the fact that he is somebody who has been in there for a very long time. It would be very good to have him be able to legally talk about what he knows without having to face legal consequences because of some overly vague and useless and stupid agreement that he signed years ago in California. Even up here, apparently, with the doctor being in Alberta, they were still trying to chase after him. No. N-O. You can't stop me because I didn't sign any contract. It doesn't apply to me. The doctor apparently didn't say anything. He was just seen in public with him, and apparently that's illegal. No, just with that example alone, the contract is already too vague. You can't enforce a contract like that. I'm sorry, but that's not the way the world works. You can't have a piece of paper, write all the rules down, have someone sign it, and so all of a sudden they're bound to it. They may be bound to a lot of it, sure, but there are certain things that you can't do, and you can't copyright the human being. I'm sorry. But that's just one of those things. Scientology thinking that because it's acting like a corporation now, the chameleon that it is, constantly switching between religion and corporation, the corporation enforcing its contract enforcing the injunction, whatever, legal piece of paper that basically revokes his rights as a human being to talk about his life. That's just ridiculous. But anyways, I just watched the video recently, and I thought that I would put up another video out there to make people more aware and to hopefully get more support and push more of the spotlight onto Gerry and to help him in his fight, and to also bring attention to the fact that anybody who may be watching Gerry and thinking that they can legally do something against him, sure, go against Gerry. But go against all of us. Go against all of us who have been talking for the past year, to all of our family members, to all of our friends, and to all of our family members and friends who now talk against the cult. Because we told them who the Scientology freaking organization is and what they've been doing. Come and get me. Come and get all of us. Go ahead. I am working in concert with Gerry Armstrong, and there's not a damned thing that you can do about it.